Well, crap. We're gonna die. The area looks industrial, like everything was built for utility only. But more noticeably than that is all of the blood. My God, I have never seen so much blood. The creatures must have had a field day. Holy shit, Marcus says, looking like a man that just awoke from a very bad dream. There were more personnel in this area when the experiment went haywire, Amy says, as if the explanation makes it all better. The research you all do down here had better be worth it, I say. We have to get moving, or we're going to lose our nerve. Amy, let's focus. Breakdale is in the hangar, I ask. If he's still alive, yes, that's where he'll be. Then let's hurry, I say. As far as I can tell, Dennis is doing much better, but I'm beginning to grow tired of trying to keep my fear at bay. Between the blood on the floors, the silence of level 3, and Amy's talk of the lab rats, I'm getting freaked out. We have the rifle. We should probably go first. The four of us start walking ahead, with me at the lead. We stop walking when we come to the remains of what looks like 3 different people. It is hard to tell how many bodies there were because they were torn to shreds. And are distorted. 2 of the bodies look as if they had been fused together. Another man looks to have had his legs welded through the floor. I can see this man's face. He died in an abject state of horror, his mouth pried open in an internal scream. Oh God, I am not investigating the bodies, forget that. It's simply too much. Worse than that is the fact that we've just started our journey through level 3. If there is worse waiting up ahead, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. Dennis steps up beside me, and when he speaks, his voice is soft and flat. What the hell could do that to someone? He asks. The things I saw, Amy answers, they could do it pretty easily, I think. She looks pale, and I think that she looks pale, and I think that she may pass out at any moment. Tears spill from her eyes, and she's visibly shaking. But she shoulders on, looking back to me and stepping to the side of the gruesome carnage. Her eyes again go to my rifle, and she doesn't look very hopeful. You good to go? She asks me. We need to move on, but for some reason I can't take my eyes off the scene. My mind is reeling, trying to process it all. Yeah, let's push on. We've got to get through. I want to get in and out as quick as possible because I don't want to run into any of the beasts, even though I'm pretty sure we're going to end up running into one of the beasts. We leave the grisly sight behind, moving into another equally destroyed area. From what I can tell, the next room was once an open area for experimentation. The place hasn't been destroyed. It has been physically altered in a way that makes no sense. The garters look to have been warped. My bad. Their very materials distorted and twisted. To the right, a machine has been catapulted and looks to have somehow merged with the wall rather than crushing into it. Beyond these phenomena, there is more. There is the standard violence I was expecting to see. There is a limp arm sticking out from underneath the wreckage, and more blood. I see no sign of an explosion, which makes me wonder just how this happened. Seeing the aftermath is sickening enough, but it makes me wonder if Amy saw it while it was happening. Ask her what happened. Do you see these people? Did you see how these people died? Let's not directly talk about the people. I only caught a glimpse of it, she says. It was like trying to focus your eyes on something that was too close. They just started twisting, but not cracking or breaking. It's like these creatures are able to deform matter. She pauses here, and that's when we hear something echo through the facility. It comes from behind us and slightly to the right. I'm not sure what it is, but it makes my blood feel like ice. It sounds almost like static from an AM radio, but there is a high-pitched noise beneath it that I can't even start to fathom. What in the hell is that? I ask, instantly clapping my hands to my ears. One of them, Amy says. Her voice is a whisper. One of the creatures. That's what they sound like? Dennis asks. I see that he's leaning against the wall, again, wincing at the noise. I suddenly realize that I have a death grip on the rifle, ready to shoot at the next thing I see. How far away do you think they are? Anything between us and them? Let's go with this one. How far away do you think they are? About 100 meters, she answers. Not far. Everyone seems to take this as a cue to start moving again. We make our way around the office wreckage. Now with new purpose in our step. We barely make it to the other side of the room, approaching the dark hallway, when another high-pitched noise sounds out. This one is louder, closer. We all share a terrified look, and I can tell that Amy is on the verge of losing it. I grip the rifle tightly as we head towards the hallway in front of us. How much further to the hangar? Can you kill these things? Both very good questions, but I think we should focus on the hangar. Close, she says. It's just at the end of this hallway. Dennis speaks up, his voice like ice. Why don't we just haul ass then, huh? No one says anything after that, but I can feel the presence of terror around us, pressing in on us like some new violent gravity. Oh, that's terrifying. Oh god, there's still blood. This is a very narrow hallway. It makes me uncomfortable. The small utility hallway is well lit. It looks as if it was designed to only be used by select maintenance workers. What goes on in this area? I ask. I'm looking at Marcus as I ask the question, but he only shrugs in response. She might know, he replies, pointing to Amy. I've never been down here before. It's just a utility hallway, Amy says, but at the end there is a maintenance room. There should be a gun or two in there. It's also the most direct path to the hangar entrance. As we walk quickly and quietly down the hall, I take a glimpse ahead and feel the hair on the back of my neck stand on end. The lights become more sparsely spaced, and it's impossible to see just how far the hallway extends into the darkness. This hallway has the occasional trace of bloodshed, but nothing like the main area we've come from. We continue further down, and as I begin to see what looks like a large metal door further ahead, I hear yet another shrill sound. This one sounds further away, but no less dramatic. How many of these things did you see? Dennis asked Amy. 3. But that's just what I saw. There could be more. What did you say they look like? Dennis asks. Can we talk about something else? Or yeah, what are we doing? Yeah, let's figure out what these look like. I don't know how to explain them, she says. Monsters. That's the only word I can think of. My mind seemed to My mind seemed to struggle just trying to say these words. Okay. My mind seemed to struggle just trying to understand what I was seeing. They're big and they seem to jerk around every few feet or so. They look like they're made of light. That's about all I know for sure. You know, my ex-husband always said I'd let my work kill me, she continues, seemingly unable to stop herself. I mean, I doubt he imagined this exact scenario, but still. As we make our way to the hangar doors, another high-pitched noise rings out, angrier now. Amy stops walking, causing all of us to stop and turn to her. We have to do something to slow those things down. We have to do something to slow those things down, she says. No, Marcus snaps. There's no time. We need to distance ourselves to get to the hangar fast. Amy ignores him, deep in thought. There's an old hydraulic door set in the walls, right here, she says. It hasn't been used for years, though. She looks at me, pleading her case. Together, we might be able to pull it closed behind us to keep those things back. Those old hydraulic doors weigh a ton, Marcus says. There's no way it'll work. Roger, Amy says. What do you think? They'll have a harder time getting to us if these doors are locked. Look, Marcus shouts, turning to me. We need to get to the hangar now. Well, this is a predicament. This is a very large predicament. So, do we lessen the distance between us, but potentially put a barricade up? Or do we have nothing between us and them, but greaten the distance between us? The thing that I'm unsure about is we don't know how fast these creatures move. We're already wasting time by standing here trying to figure this out. So we don't know how quickly they're going to catch up to us. We don't know how strong they are either. There's also the potential, if the creatures are... Actually, I think she even said that they have the ability to, like, bend matter. Then who's to say the door is even gonna stop them? I mean, they could probably just pull it open with their friggin' minds or something, or whatever. So, this is probably a huge risk, but I think we should just keep going. I really don't think that closing the hangar door is gonna do much to stop them, and it's just gonna make them closer to us. So let's keep moving. You decide to leave the doors open and run. No, I say to the group. With all the carnage back there, I doubt we could stop them. That's what I'm saying, Marcus agrees. Let's haul ass. Amy tries to speak up, but the rest of us are already running down the hall. I speed towards the hangar doors, not even looking back to see how far Amy has fallen behind us. Panic and hope are fighting within me, and I can't stop myself from sprinting. The fact that yet another shrill noise sounds out elsewhere in the facility is not calming. And then there are two of them. It's almost like they're calling out to one another. The doors in the hangar sit up ahead, like the entrance to some enormous labyrinth. When we reach the hangar doors, I get a true sense of how impenetrable they are. A computer terminal is mounted on the wall nearby, and has a blinking red light. Any idea what that means? I ask. It's an automatic lock. It's a failsafe from the lockdown Yeah, from the lockdown. Yeah. Says Amy. I've never been down here before, Marcus says. If I had known this door was here, I would have opened it earlier. How? Amy asks. The fear in her voice is more present than ever. From the command center, he says. You can override from there first, then use the terminal to open the hangar doors. The command center on the second floor? I ask. Yeah. Amy shakes her head and lets out a nervous laugh. Do you hear those things? She asks. There's no way in hell I'm going back towards them through the small hallway. If we want to get into the hangar, we have to go back to the command center, Marcus says. Isn't there another way? Turning to Marcus, Amy replies, well, there's another elevator, but we'll need to go through biochem storage. I need to stay with Dennis so I can help so he can rest, I say. You two go. You know your way around this place, and you know the controls, Marcus. Fine, Marcus says, but we'll need to be armed. Oh God. Do we give the gun? Okay, so we don't get to keep the gun at all. Do we give it to Amy or do we give it to Marcus? Part of me wants to say Marcus, and then part of me wants to say Amy. I want to say Marcus just because he's the security, so I would hope he's got training with the gun and know how to use it. We don't have any way of knowing that Amy knows how to use it, but at the same time, the fact that he hesitated to shoot us, while I am thankful for that, he did hesitate to shoot us earlier. So who's to say he's not going to hesitate again, whether there's a monster coming at them or not? Or, I mean, he could have never... See, my thing is, if he's never shot anything before, that could be why he's hesitant to do so. And so now I'm not sure. But I know that Marcus is going to scowl at us if we give it to Amy. I don't think Amy would expect us to give it to her. Screw it, let's give it to Marcus. You gave Marcus the gun. I hand Marcus the rifle and he turns to go. Amy gives me a concerned look, but follows along behind him. Once Amy and Marcus make a good distance down the hallway, Dennis lets out a nervous laugh. And then there were two, he says. Dennis looks much better, but he still needs to use the wall to stay standing. Didn't Amy say that there were guns in an emergency kit in the maintenance room near the hangar doors? I ask. Yeah, I think so, Dennis says, looking exhausted. I look ahead to see a door to the right that reads maintenance. Might as well give it a try. I go to the door to try and open it and find it's locked. Okay. If I recall correctly, we injured our leg during the explosion, so I don't think that kicking it is going to be a good idea. So let's push it with our shoulder and hope that helps. You give it a hard shove, but it doesn't budge. I'm about to try again, but that's when I hear the dry, choking sound from just down the hall. It's barely audible, but it's not my imagination. My first thought, it's one of the things, one of the monsters. But after calming my nerves and reassuring, it sounds more like a person. I think about how angry and on edge Amy was when she turned to leave, as well as how scared Marcus looked. Alarm bells sound in my head, and before I know it, I'm heading back down the hallway from the hangar doors. Stay here. I'll be right back, I whisper over my shoulder to Dennis. See if you can figure out how to get into the maintenance room. Where are you going? He asks. I don't bother answering him as I bound through the door where Amy and Marcus went. Oh God. Oh, God. What happened? As I enter the biochem room and start walking between the massive silos, I wonder what classified chemicals could be inside them. I am fully expecting one of Amy's creatures to come flying out from the intersection of the halls up ahead. I think I hear something, a skittering noise, like something moving quickly. I run ahead so fast that I almost trip over two people in a life or death struggle. My mind tries to process what I'm seeing, but it makes no sense. None at all. Marcus is on the floor with Amy pinned beneath him. He has his rifle to her throat, pushing her down to the floor, choking her with it. Her face is turning purple, and her eyes look like they might pop out of her head. Marcus sees me coming down the hall, but acts as if what he's doing is perfectly normal. Stop him? I start rushing towards him before I really know what I'm doing. I bring my fist down hard on the I bring my fist down in a hard arc across the bridge of his nose, and am rewarded with a sick cracking sound. He cries out and falls to the ground, looking at me as if he doesn't understand why I punched him. On the floor, Amy clutches her neck and gasps for breath. I start to fear that I was a moment too late, just as I see the rifle has been thrown across the floor. Marcus seems to notice this at the exact same moment that I do. Let's hit Marcus again, just because I don't know what the hell's going on with him. I deliver a surprisingly strong blow with my right hand, clipping his chin from my awkward position. I'm in the process of planting a knee in his chest to hold him down when his left foot comes out from nowhere, landing hard. The kick catches me squarely in the ribs, knocking the breath out of me. "What the hell are you doing?" he yells at me. "By killing her, I'm saving us. All of this is her fault." I sense that he truly believes this, but if that's the case, then why not just shoot her rather than strangle her with the rifle? The answer is simple. We would have heard the gunshot, and or those things, would have come running. I wanted to kill her quietly. He wanted to kill her quietly. It seems fitting, really. When we first came upon Marcus, he held a gun on us. I'd been so relieved to see another human being that I had underestimated just how unhinged he was. Marcus and I both drive for the rifle, still lying on the floor, and start wrestling for possession. But I'm not confident I'll come away with it. As we struggle, he starts inching the muzzle of the gun towards my face, a position I don't want to be in. I start pushing back hard, but if this thing accidentally fires, I'm not sure where I'd prefer the bullet to go, especially in a room full of chemical tanks. Oh God. I mean, I don't want to kill Marcus. Like, I know he's nutso, but at the same time, I don't want to kill him. But then again, we're in a room full of chemical tanks. We don't know what chemicals are in there, and if one of those gets a hole in them, it could kill all of us. So I feel like pushing it towards Marcus is the best option. I grunt as I push the muzzle to point towards his face, realizing he is literally looking down the barrel of the gun. Marcus ducks his head out of the way. This makes him lose leverage, allowing me to yank the gun from his grip. I get to my feet as quickly as I can, swinging the rifle back around on him. For a moment, I think I've knocked him out, but his eyes flutter and he looks at me as if I've betrayed him. "Her people," he says. It was them that did this. She deserves to die. She did this. I look to Amy and wish I could help her. I'm relieved to see that she is managing to draw in a few breaths. Her legs move as she tries to push herself to a sitting position. You wouldn't know, Marcus says. You didn't work here under their secrecy. You don't know what it's like to. He surprised me by lunging towards me, leaping from the floor like a human projectile. I don't have time to aim carefully. I have to react fast. Shoot him or try to dodge. I don't think... Again, I don't want to kill him. But I don't think he's gonna stop. I honestly think he's lost it. And so either we dodge and shoot him later, or we shoot him now. That's honestly my opinion. And as far as we know, those creatures are heading straight for where Dennis is at right now. And we're just wasting so much time. But then the shot could end up attracting the beasts, which could, if they're not already heading our way, end up bringing them our way, and we still have to get back up to the second floor and to the command center. Although without Marcus, we're not going to know how to open it. Fuck it, let's try to dodge. His aim is poor and his strength is failing, so I dodge him easily. I don't want to have a gunshot go off and alert those creatures to where we are. Make a hard jab for the butt of the rifle, striking him in his chest. Something crunches and he lets out a whoosh of air. He crumples for a moment and then goes to his knees. He roars in pain on the floor. Only after a few moments I realize that they're not purely screams of pain. The bastard is calling for them, calling for those creatures to come for us. This place is evil, along with everyone involved, he wails from the floor. If you are taking her side, then you deserve to die too. If you want to stop me, you better do it now, you coward. The rage in his eyes at Amy, as well as toward me for stopping him, makes me think he'll deliver on his threat. I raise the rifle again, every urge of my body wanting to make sure he doesn't come back to bite us. But I'm not a violent man. I could easily not kill him and just leave him behind. Okay, so either Marcus howls and whoops and yells and tries to attract the creature's attention and brings them to wherever we end up leaving him, or we shoot the gun, which is more likely, in my opinion, to attract the creatures. I still think that we should let him live. I don't want this gun to go off. You decide to let Marcus live. Just like when I could barely shoot earlier as he was coming at me, I can't bring myself to deliver a killing shot. I ignore him and lean down to Amy. You okay? I ask. She nods slowly. Have to go, she says, her voice raspy. They'll be here any minute. Too much noise. I have to hold her arm so she can get to her feet. We start forward, and then I think of Dennis. We should go back to the hangar doors, I say. I can't just leave Dennis there. There's no time, Amy says. You need to come with me to the command center now. We'll be back for him soon. You're all dead now anyway, Marcus shrieks. If they don't get you, I will. He laughs maniacally after saying this, hooting like a madman. As if in response, a high-pitched noise tears through the hallway. I seem to feel it in my bones. They're following the noise now. They're following the noise now, Amy says, her voice still weak. She takes off away from Marcus, presumably towards another elevator she had mentioned moments ago. I follow her. As we move out, I hear Marcus slowly push himself off the ground and stumble off, slipping in between the tanks and disappearing. We start running, and after the first few strides, another noise sounds off. It sounds mechanical, but at the same time, it also... I didn't catch that shit. I dare look behind us to see something has entered the doorway. I come through it. Yeah. I'm sorry I missed those lines. I hope you guys got to read it or go back and pause and read it for yourselves. I'm sorry I wasn't reading fast enough. But when I think about it this way, I've gotten this far and this is the first time it's happened. I'm impressed with myself. I don't think you guys are, but whatever. Anyway, whether pulling the hydraulic door would have helped, I'm not sure. But seeing how close they are, I regret not doing it. I speed up my step to follow Amy as she leads the way to the other elevator. She's panting furiously, but pushes on. I can hear something rattling in her breath, likely the result of Marcus's attack. This makes me imagine how his cold, uncaring eyes must have looked, staring down at her as he tried to deliver her to death. How she is still forging on is beyond me. I'm sorry about Marcus, I say. It's not your fault, she interrupts. When you handed him the gun, you didn't know he would use it on me. I just hope we can find a way to survive this mess. Okay. I have a few comments I want to make. One, we don't know how to override the door. Amy didn't even know it was possible to do from the command center, so I don't think that she knows how to override the door. So I'm not entirely sure how we're going to manage that if we do make it to the command center. And two, we just left Dennis down here with Marcus and the beasts. I mean, need I elaborate how bad that could possibly be? What the hell are we thinking? My God. Oh my God. I just hope we can find a way to survive this mess. I'm gonna stay silent. I have no comment. We both keep our eyes fixed straight ahead. Better to stay focused. We finally come to the elevator at the end of the row of silos. Now I am more concerned with the monstrosity that is on our heels. Amy furiously slaps at the buttons to open the doors. They slide open slowly. It feels like it's taking forever. We squeeze in before the doors are opened all the way. Amy actually falling to her knees and screaming. I ready the rifle to watch helplessly as the doors finally reach their full opening capacity. As they hold open, I see a large shape floating towards us. A fluorescent-like white glow outlines an impossible shape. Behind it, I see another shape that's also entered the biochem room, and another. The third one breaks away from the other two, taking a quick right. It moves with eerie speed. That is the direction Marcus had gone. Honestly, the thought of them hunting him down doesn't bother me in the slightest. Amy is pressing the button to close the elevator door over and over, but they stay open for what seems like an eternity. Of course, whoever designed these damn doors. I curse whoever designed these damn doors. Hide inside the elevator, stand in the doorway, ready to shoot. I don't think shooting is going to do anything to them, but better to be prepared. We can't go anywhere, I figure, so no use in hiding. I take a step and stand firmly in the elevator doorway. I hold the rifle steady, ready to fire, and that's when I see them in a clear light for the first time. I can see their features, their shape, and their colors. But my mind can't quite process it all. Nothing about them makes sense. My eyes try to see a squid. My eyes try to see a squid, but that's not what these things are. They are gray and white and seem to be nothing more than squirming light. Their appendages are neither legs nor tentacles, but somewhere in between. They don't walk on these appendages, but but use them to glide. They move like ghosts and seem to jerk every few feet or so. But I am pretty sure that this jerking effect is not a result of their moving by my mind's inability to understand how they're moving exactly. It's almost more their appearance that makes a mockery of reality. The light around them seems to bend inward, as if the space within the room has to reshape itself to their existence. That particular effect on the air makes their movements seem like something moving underwater, only faster. They screech in unison as they rush towards the elevator, but they'll be inside here in another few seconds. I check the rifle to see my ammo is diminishing. I have to start saving my shots. We haven't shot anything. What are you talking about? I'm going to have to choose. I'm going to have to be choosy. Shoot the creature, don't shoot the creature. Oh, this could be a mistake. This could be a big mistake. This could be a deadly mistake. You decide to conserve ammo. They keep advancing. Even though I know the doors may not close in time, I manage to keep my cool and avoid firing off any more rounds. My finger itches to pull the trigger, but I resist. I'm not even sure if a gun would affect them. Finally, the elevator door closes. The creatures wash against the other side of the door, making an electrical noise and crying out in anger. The tips of their spider-like appendages poke through the wall and the elevator door, but for some reason they can't get all the way through. Amy screams at this and curls into a ball in the far corner of the elevator, crying. I say nothing to her. I just cling to the rifle, hoping these creatures don't find Dennis as he waits by the hangar doors, where I left him. For his sake and ours, we need to get them open now. And that is the end of chapter 3. So, what are our results? I'm curious. What did we get? How did we do? The blunt truth. You and 59% of players told Dennis he'd probably be fine. Slow them down. You and 65% of players sided with Marcus and didn't pull the hydraulic doors. Who to trust? You and 31% of players gave the gun to Marcus. Murder or mercy? You and 58% of players left Marcus alive. Now or later. You and 68% of players conserved your bullets for later instead of shooting the creatures. Which I'm actually really glad that we conserved, because we were able to make it in time. I mean, it's scary that their tentacles are pointing through the doors, but it's not going to get us. I'm still really worried about Dennis. I could care less about Marcus, but I'm really worried because this room, at least from what I understood, didn't seem like it was that far from where we left him. If he was able to get into the maintenance room, then maybe he'll be able to hide in there until we can get back. But with how weak he was, I don't know if he's gonna be able to get in there, and if he is, I hope he gets a gun. So the only thing that we weren't majority on was who to trust, which I didn't think about the whole him being insane thing. That part might have slipped my mind. But yeah. I have a feeling this would have happened either way. Alright, so that looks like it was the end of chapter 3. That was very, very hectic, very crazy, very wow. Very wow. God, that was a lot. I'm trying to form an image in my head of what the heck the creatures look like, but I'm struggling. Roger talks about in the dialogue, I keep thinking like a squid looking kind of thing, but at the same time he says it's not a squid. It's light, which is interesting. But yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. It's a lot to think about. I'm still processing. As always, don't forget to leave your theories in the comments down below. I'd love to see what you guys think as to what the hell is going on, what the heck's going to happen, and if we're going to get out of here alive. Yeah. So, don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe for more videos, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!